Hello and welcome to the Wine Educate podcast, where we explore WSET education, study tips, and practical advice for wine enthusiasts and professionals. This is episode 15. I am your host, Joanne Close, and today we're starting a series where I talk about the structural components of wine. And we are going to start with my favorite, acidity. Okay. First, a straight up definition of acidity. According to the Oxford Companion to Wine, acidity in wine refers to the presence of organic acids that contribute to a wine's freshness, balance, and longevity. In your WSET textbook, it writes, acidity is one of the key structural components of wine, contributing to its crispness, balance, and ability to age. Same thing, different words. Okay. When a grape grows, let's start here. It starts off as a very hard, little round green ball. Now, this is whether it's a white grape or a red grape, they all start off the same. And later on in the veraison process, it's like gender reveal time. And then you know if you've got a white grape or a red grape, and so on and so forth. But in the beginning, it is just full of tannins and acidity. So what happens when the grape gets sunlight and heat and ripens? The sugars develop and the volume increases, meaning with water in the pulp, and the acidity always stays the same. However, because the sugars are developing and the volume of the grape is increasing, they are actually being diluted. Okay? So in level 1, we had that lovely graph that shows that when sugars increase, acidity decreases. And it's not wrong. It really is like the overall volume of acidity is decreasing. But the amount of acidity that the grape had at the beginning stays the same. Just have to be careful to harvest the grape at the optimum time so that it doesn't get too diluted and you don't lose that balance that is important in the grape. All right, a bit of technical information before we dive into the more fun things, but it's important to know a little bit of technical lingo. I am not a chemist. That's okay. We're going to keep things at the entry level for all of us, myself included. So let's talk about pH, right? The pH of our mouths is around 6.7 to 7.4. And most wines fall between a pH of 2.9 and 3.6. So with pH, a lower pH means higher acidity. Okay, so when we talk about pH in a bit, we've got that to think about. But when we talk about the acidity in grapes, we refer to it as total acidity, or TA, and it's measured in grams per liter, and the typical range is usually around 4 to 9. Okay, so if a wine is high in acidity, it's going to range from 6.5 to 9 grams per liter. So if you can think of some grapes that are naturally high in acidity, what's our friend that grows in Germany? Riesling. And then don't forget that red grapes, there's some that also are just naturally high in acidity, like Cabernet Sauvignon or Nebbiolo. Not all wineries list the grams per liter in acidity for their wines. It's people more interested in things like alcohol by volume, so on and so forth. However, for my acid heads out there, you know who you are, and you love your high acid wines, and wines, German Rieslings from the Mosel are your jam. You may be more kind of in tune to acidity levels in grams per liter. There is a wonderful importer, Von Boden. If you don't know them, you need to find out. They are fabulous, importing just gorgeous wines from Germany and beyond, but primarily from Germany. Their website is absolutely one of the best websites for technical information because they break it up not only by the individual producers and the wines they produce with tech sheets, but also vintage with really good technical information about grams per liter of acidity. So it's just a sidebar to go check those guys out. Medium acidity. All right. That would be falling 4.5 to 6.5 grams per liter. Name me some medium acid grapes. Let's think. How about Tempranillo, perhaps? Maybe Merlot. And newsflash, these grapes are both used for blending, right? So we can blend with other more high acid grapes like, of course, Merlot with Cabernet Sauvignon are the yin to the yang because they balance each other out so nicely. Because Merlot is more medium in tannin and acidity, and Cabernet is a whopper and high in all those things. So low acidity. All right, let's talk about low acidity a little bit here. Below 4.5 grams per liter. You're going to find perhaps some white wines that are low in acidity. And these are grapes that are low in acidity to begin with. And you really have to watch when you pick them so that they don't get to be the horrible word, the F word, flabby. Okay. We don't want flabby wines. No. I think flabby might be up there with moist as a gross word. Sorry, I said moist. Okay. Viognier, Gewürztraminer. These are two grapes that are prone to flabbiness if they are not harvested early enough to keep that nice balance of acidity. So mom and dad grow some Viognier at Chateau Camplaisans, and it is definitely one of the first grapes that they bring in every year. They bring that in, I think, in August. They're starting to bring it in some years because they don't want to lose that precious little acidity that the wine has. Red wines and low acidity is more of you're not quite going to see it. In warm climates, if the acidity gets too dilute, it can be a real problem for red wines because acidity not only provides freshness, the freshness word, and balance, it also helps to stabilize the wine. It stabilizes the color. So red wines that are really high in acidity keep that color better, whereas red wines from really warm climates that are left to maybe hang a bit longer on the vine and the acidity dissipates a bit by dilution can be more of a blue color and are more prone to aging faster. So acidity is also a really important component for wines that are going to age successfully. Okay? All right. How about perception? How do we taste acidity in our mouths? Okay. So if acidity makes the wine feel fresh and crisp and tart, it causes our mouth to water and provides a refreshing sensation. So if a wine got low pH, meaning high acidity, gotta get our brains wrapped around that concept. So say it's like 3 on the pH scale, and our mouth likes to hang out at around 7. When you put that really high acid wine, say your Mosel Riesling, in your mouth is upset with you. It is mad. You have upset the natural pH balance in the mouth. The alarm bell is going off, the bells and whistles. Your mouth is trying to fix what you just did. And in order to fix it, to get back to where its happy place of about 7, it's going to make you drool, okay? It is releasing the saliva. That's really gross. Anyway, I want you to just put your finger right below your ear for me right now and trace along your jawline, okay? Because when you get a wine that's really high in acidity, you're really going to feel it there, okay? You're going to feel like this tingling kind of sensation in that area, and your mouth is going to release some saliva. Okay, sometimes I don't bring up the drool test in class, but one of my students always is like, oh, I want to tell you about this test that I use. I'm like, oh, here we go, the drool test. So I will tell you because it is useful, but maybe not the most polite party trick, right? Just be careful who you show off your drool test to. If you're drinking a wine and you're not sure about the acidity, the thought process is if you tilted your head down and slightly opened your mouth, would you then drool on your shoes or your paper or somewhere else? But you get the point, right? If you were really feeling like that would be something that might happen, that is a big indication that it is high in acidity. I once had a student come back for the Thanksgiving break and told me that she told her whole family over Thanksgiving dinner about the drool test. So there's a time and a place for these things, everybody. Okay? I find, since I'm the one sitting at the front of the classroom yapping away, that if I try to talk about a wine and I just can't because my mouth can't sort of formulate and is on delay, it's usually because of the acidity as well. So see if you're able to speak easily after drinking a wine to detect the acidity as well. I like to talk about acidity because I feel like it's one of the unsung heroes of the wine world. When it's there, you kind of take it for granted. But when it's gone, oh, you miss it. You miss it. So here's a good example. Sweet wines. So a Sauterne or a Tokaj. Those wines have very high acidity because they have so much sugar, so much sweetness. If that acidity was not there, yep, you guessed it, flabbiness, okay? And you would definitely not go back for that second sip. You need acidity. It's important. Okay, examples of acidity in food. So if you still need or want some practice in detecting acidity, well, you've got foods that are high in acidity. One you probably have in your fridge is a lemon, right? You can do like you did when you were 6 and put that little lemon wedge in your mouth, make a little lemon wedge smile, and feel your eyes watering and your mouth watering and all the things. Green apples, right? Those Granny Smith apples, things like vinegar. I've got another one for you, and chances are, if you have children, you've got this somewhere in your house too. So wherever that bag of dodgy old Halloween candy is residing, and you know it's there. Because you ate all the Butterfingers out of there in the first place, and the Kit Kats, and what's left are the Laffy Taffies and the Sour Patch Kids. So my children, when they were younger, thought it was the most fun to make mom eat a Sour Patch Kid because they are loaded with acidity. In particular, and I looked at one the other day, the first ingredient is tartaric acid. So you can get these things anywhere. I mean, anywhere. It's like a bottle of Kendall Jackson, gas stations, grocery stores. You can find the Sour Patch Kids. So if you really want to go from like 0 to 60 with acidity, pop one of those in your mouth and see what happens. Okay? Great. So we are going to continue on with our series. For the next episode, I'm going to talk about sweetness because it kind of goes hand in hand with acidity. So if you are not already following or subscribed to wherever you listen to your podcasts, perhaps you would like to do so you catch all the rest of these structural component episodes because I think they're going to be pretty useful. All right. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have a great week. I will see you next time.